Fashion is obsessed with skiing this year, and I'm not even exaggerating. Sure, it's always been a fashionable hobby, but now the industry is capitalizing on a range of factors that have made skiing explode. Like TikTok's new anti-algorithm culture and how the new status symbol is to be outside and do some hobbies. Also, the hype around the Winter Olympics, and also the general fact that skiing as a hobby is booming amongst the elite and also the masses. More people than ever are skiing, and fashion brands across the industry are seeing that demand and using it as an excuse to get into the ski wear market. And that brings us on to the video I did last year talking about fast fashion ski wear, specifically about the Zara ski drama and the many problems people were having with subpar ski wear brought on by brands that really don't have any business creating technical garments. But despite the backlash to those viral videos and the massive discourse it sparked across the entire internet, we're seeing more brands than ever come out with ski wear collections this year. But I've also seen a shift in how they're doing it. And I think it's directly related to the Zara drama from last year and brands trying not to repeat their mistakes. And something about the wording they started using, something about the campaigns they put out felt weird to me. So I decided to look into this further, and I thought we could investigate it in this video. Quickly before we do, let me say welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hi, my name's Katie. I talk a lot about the fashion industry, sustainability and cultural trends. If that sounds good to you, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. You can come say hi on my other social media, and let's get into it. The ski wear aesthetic is everywhere right now, and I'm not just talking about the Architect's beanie, although that being a trend is very indicative of ski wear becoming mainstream, and also that micro trends still exist even in the age of offline algorithm gorpcore. The fur jacket is also huge. Moon boots are back. Edits of Victoria Beckham retro ski style are going viral. And though I'm yet to see anyone wear actual ski salopettes to Fashion Week, I feel like it's only a matter of time. But it's not just an obsession with looking like we're skiing. Data shows that more of us are actually picking up skiing as a hobby, booking ski holidays and posting about it online. This is going to kind of lead us into the topic because I want to talk about how this year ski wear has definitely been less slim fitting, sleek jumpsuits with perfect matching colors and like a furry hat, and more baggy layers with the right logo. This one TikTok outfit I found is the perfect example of this new vibe, and just a note that the outfit is H&M. It's giving too cool for the slopes, it's giving gorpcore, but there's also kind of subtext there that the person cares more about the function rather than the aesthetic of these clothes because they're serious about the hobby. It reminds me of that one TikTok where someone said a cool girl outfit is just wearing the most masculine thing you can get away with without looking masculine. Like, this is that, no? But TikTok trends aside, let's get into the serious part of this video, because I'm totally seeing this cultural shift from fashiony ski wear to functional to technical ski wear. And I think that's very indicative of where the culture is at right now. People want to signal that they're serious about their hobbies, and fashion is reacting to that by putting out more technical ski wear, but they're also still super cautious of making too big a promise. And this is the shift, this is the tension in the industry that I want to talk about. This is where I'm going to rant about what fashion is doing. Because fashion may have shifted to selling this serious, authentic seasoned skier look, but they've also clearly seen what happened with Zara Ski last year, and they've recalibrated their marketing in order to avoid more backlash, with varying results. I mean, this is not a groundbreaking shift by any means. Fashion brands haven't woken up and realized that just because they can make a polyester top doesn't really mean they're qualified to making extreme weather outfits. They're still doing that. Just like last year, we've been inundated with ski wear collections, and just like last year, we have TikToks of people surprised that their fast fashion ski wear isn't built for a mountain. But what has changed is that fashion is no longer willing to say they sell ski wear. Instead, they're pivoting to the safer side of the slopes, towards the après ski vibe, which has just as many opportunities to sell you an aesthetic, but also come with less reputational risk if they fall apart. Of course, you do still have examples of fashion brands that don't seem to care about any of this backlash and are still happy to sell ski wear clothing to the masses without thinking it at all appropriate to include basic technical details that you might need for clothing that is supposed to protect you. Take Aloe Yoga, for example. Their description for what makes their ski suit suitable for snow is basically like, bro, trust us, here's a bin bag. That'll be 1,100 Great British pounds, please and thank you. Also, someone does have to say it, an all-white ski suit on the slopes should be illegal, But this has apparently been sent to all the influencers and is sold out online. But anyway, the brands that have seen the drama have decided not to catch a lawsuit, have very strategically started calling their collections après ski rather than ski, even if said collection includes pieces that are very clearly made for skiing and being on the mountainside. For example, Primark has a ski jacket which they say is designed to shield against wind and cold. But what about the snow on the mountaintop of where you're skiing, the snow that you're skiing on? What about that? Where's the waterproofing? Where is the weatherproofing at all? And I went into the technical aspect of ski wear in last year's video, so I'm not going to do that again. But in case you haven't seen that, PSA, there's actual scales and measurements for this kind of stuff that a real ski wear brand will give you, so you know what you're covered for on the top of that mountain. And this isn't it. This is not sufficient for that, just so in case you couldn't see. So yes, the trend is definitely more après ski rather than ski. But I've also seen more brands collaborating with actual ski wear brands in order to cover their backs a bit more. Like for example, the H&M Perfect Moment collab is super interesting because in theory, it should be the perfect example of a luxury ski wear brand having an entry-level collaboration with a fast fashion brand that results in affordable ski wear and is mutually beneficial for both brands because Perfect Moment has a new entry point in the market and H&M benefits from their technical knowledge of ski wear. But in reality, the collection is carefully marketed as après ski, despite the fact it's with a ski wear brand, because most of it is clearly just athleisure without any of the technical properties which make Perfect Moment good. If we were to compare a pair of the Perfect Moment ski pants with a H&M collab equivalent, you can immediately see why one costs £650 and the other £280. They're visually pretty similar, but where the Perfect Moment one is made from Terray Dermazax technology, water resistant and breathable to keep you comfortable and dry, the H&M version doesn't even attempt to say it's waterproof, just that it's inspired by classic ski wear. And if you were to put the two descriptions side by side, it's clear one is actually catering to a skiing customer and the other to après ski. And yet the fast fashion one is still 3 figures and the editorial is shot on the slopes because they're trying to sell it as ski wear. And this collaboration theme is something I've been noticing a lot in the industry this season. The Nike Jacquemus collection promises real mountain engineering with triple layer Gore-Tex in some places and fully waterproof jackets built to handle real winter storms, but they still call it après. Skims also decided it was a safer bet to collab with North Face rather than creating their own ski wear collection alone. And again, Skims is calling theirs winter wear, even though the styling for this campaign is clearly on the slopes, and Kim posted a lot of content of herself wearing it on the slopes for her own skiing holiday. I've also been seeing a lot of videos from influencers on TikTok who've been sent the ski suits who clearly plan to wear it on the slopes, or at least are pretending to plan to wear it on the slopes for that audience. But again, I think the fact they haven't called it ski wear is so telling. It's been super interesting noticing this shift going on in ski wear collections, and it's kind of got me thinking why brands are even bothering. Why don't they just stick to polyester t-shirts rather than trying to design something for mountain conditions? And I want to briefly talk about that because it's honestly such an interesting answer. Obviously, fashion knows that skiing is a growing industry and ski wear is a growing market. And they're not stupid. They can see the gap in the market. They can see the rising demand. Yes, maybe it does make sense to risk a few angry TikToks in order to capitalize on it. But I think there's definitely a scale to how serious this has been taking in the industry, and fast fashion is barely touching the surface of opportunities that they could take. Basically on this bottom end, you have fast fashion brands jumping on ski wear because it's a trending hobby, because there's a boom for affordable fashion, and because they can feed that boom by sending influencers on trips to Aspen and sending them their collections to review in their homes. And then on the other end, you have luxury fashion, who's seeing this as less of a trend and more of a serious marketing strategy, who are using the culture and the glamour and the romanticization of the ski industry to cater to their wealthy clients and meet them where they are on the slopes in order to gain cultural capital. Luxury brands are the ones truly obsessed with the slopes right now, hosting pop-ups and brand dinners and runway shows right there in the most notable ski destinations because they know that's where their big clients already are. Is it ironic that fashion is investing in winter sports when their overconsumptive business model is a contributing factor to the lack of snowfall this season, which so many skiers moaned about? Yes, it is. Is fashion going to acknowledge that irony? No, they're not. A recent Vogue business article covered this ski wear boom, and the reason I bring up this Vogue article is because they made a really good point about why fashion is so obsessed with ski wear and investing in it and the potential they see for the market. They rightly pointed out that in a cost of living crisis, when people are very aware of the cost of things, it's easier to sell a functional item than a luxury handbag, even if the price points are similar. And that principle applies at every stage of the scale, which is probably why brands like H&M and Zara feel comfortable offering £300 ski wear items on their website when a lot of their other items range from £20 to £100. For consumers, it's logical to see an investment into a raincoat which is built to withstand wet and cold weather is a good idea, especially in the coming climate change. But the issue is that the industry is not treating these items like investments, even if they're priced as them. Instead, they're using pushy marketing tactics and overconsumptive messaging, just like they do with all their other collections. Like we need a new color of the season, a new style, a new collab, or a limited collection for ski wear. They don't seem to see the irony of selling something expensive because it's an investment, and then also making that investment feel cheap by saying it will be out in a season. All of this makes sense when you realize that fashion is not actually trying to sell you ski wear, it's trying to sell you a lifestyle. And that they're trying to capitalize on the fact that skiing is seen as a luxury in society. So if they can tie themselves to skiing, then we might see them as a luxury by association. And the annoying thing is that for most people, ski wear is the perfect case study for renting your clothes. For most of us, we probably use it once every few years, and in that case, why spend all that money on something you don't need 90% of the time when you can just rent it? Less consumption, less environmental impact. Because there is a big environmental cost with this topic. Technical or not, extreme weatherproof or not, a massive percentage of ski wear is made up almost entirely from fossil fuels. And that's the unglamorous truth fashion is trying to cover up with geometric prints and faux fur hoods. And like I said, the irony of people moaning about a lack of snow for their sport that is already environmentally damaging, without even trying to acknowledge the impact the new clothes they bought for this holiday had on the very snow they're trying to ski on, is next level delusion. And hey, I've skied before. I actually want to go skiing again soon. I love it. So I'm not saying that a ski holiday is bad, but fashion turning the slopes into their new fast fashion dumping ground is. So is sending people up a mountain in clothes that won't protect them. And that's all I have to say about that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a brief break on the channel, but I'm back to regularly posting hopefully. So I'll see you guys really soon for the next video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you enjoyed this, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.